We're in Quag now, and I'm sitting with Bubbies. Bubbies sits in my lap in the den. He locks his hands behind his head when he relaxes. I do the same. We sit there in a lopsided brown leather chair, same pose, sitting in tandem like luge drivers. One evening he points to the shelf to his left and says, "Book." He indicates the letters of James Joyce, edited by Stuart Gilbert. It seems an ambitious choice for a 23-month-old boy. But I take down the book and prop it before us. "Dear Bubbies," I begin, "I went to the beach today and played in the sand. I also built a castle. I hope you will come play with me soon. Love, James Joyce." Bubby seems content, so I read on. "Dear Bubbies, went to the playground today, tried the slide. It was a little scary. I like the swings better. I can go very high, just like you. Love, James Joyce." Bubbies turns the pages. I occasionally amuse myself with an invented letter closer to the truth of Joyce's life and personality. "Dear Bubbies, I hate the Catholic Church, and I'm leaving Ireland forever. Love, James Joyce." It tickles me that Bubbies has chosen to latch on to a writer who gladly would have stepped on a baby to get a rave review. I try to put back the book, but he detects an implicit announcement of his bedtime, and he protests. "Joyce," he says. Eventually, he resigns himself to the end of his day. He puts the book back himself and quietly says, "Joyce." Late in August, we return to Bethesda for the first days of the children's school. Bubbies begins preschool at Geneva Day School. Ginny takes him. He cries on his first day and is fine after that. School for someone 30 inches high, it seems preposterous. Jesse starts second grade at Burning Tree, the local public school. Sammy, kindergarten. He is excited mainly about taking the school bus. The first day, Sammy's bus runs out of oil on the way home. "What was your favorite part of the day?" I ask him. "When the school bus couldn't move," he says. Harris says that might turn out to be his favorite part of the whole year. On the weekend, we visit the cemetery. Each time I go with a mixture of need and trepidation because I know I may break down at the sight of the small rectangle of earth, the boxwood outlining it, the conical brass receptacle for flowers, and the marker, which is so definite. When we chose this spot in December, the nearby office building showed through the shorn trees. Since spring, the area has burgeoned with dogwoods and magnolias. Jesse has brought white carnations, Sammy a Washington Redskins balloon in the shape of an oversized football, which he plans to release into the air. He seems fragile these days, drifting into faraway stares and silences. Yet he talks more about Amy's death. Yesterday morning he asked me again how Mommy died. The heart stopped, right? His first day of kindergarten, when the children were asked to draw pictures of their families, Sammy's drawing included Amy lying dead on the floor. Catherine Andrews, the children's psychotherapist, says that Sammy is expressing recollections as they come to him, but that this is a way of expelling them, and they are unlikely to be repeated. At the gravesite, Harris asks Sammy if he has something to say. He stands behind the marker and says, "I miss you, Mommy." He tells Amy about Bubby's first teacher in preschool, Miss Renzetti, and about Jesse's second grade teacher, Mrs. Salcetti, and about his own, Miss Merritt. He tells Amy about the balloon and predicts the Redskins will win the Super Bowl. Jesse has no message for Amy today. Sammy asks Harris if he may be buried next to Mommy. Harris says yes, but tells him it's a very long way off. Ginny and I take turns holding Bubbies, who carries a small plastic penguin. When you squeeze its trigger, its beak opens and shuts, its little wings flap, and the penguin squawks. On an earlier visit to the cemetery, Bubbies refused to be taken from his car seat and cried out, "No, no, no." Today he has his penguin and is content simply to look around. Jesse places the carnations in the conical vessel. Harris writes, "We love you, Mommy," on the football balloon. The children let it go. It flies up in the heavy air and snags on a distant tree. We assure the children that the wind will free it eventually. The dead have occupied much of my time this past year. Books and poems about the dead, conversations with other families about their dead. I read death into innocent remarks and innocent texts. At the time it feels accidental, but I know it is not. I should try to get away from the subject. It is not infinitely interesting, as thinking about it ends only in a grim shrug. In any case, there is more to do, and I grow weary of my anger. Ginny and Harris may feel that their lives have prepared them for the current circumstance. I do not. I doubt that my life has prepared me for any situation, because until Amy died, I had always believed that good things would simply befall me. Except for a few disappointments, probably less than my share, I've led a charmed life. I am learning what most people know at a much younger age, that life is to be endured and its rewards earned. Since my rewards these days lie in the survival of my family, I am content to try to earn them. But all this comes slowly to me. I have not been a long-distance runner, and now, at the time when my legs are weak and my wind diminish, I need to confront the long haul which runs counter to my nature. I must train myself to deal with the world as it is, as Amy did, while not treating the assignment as a chore. One of the few pieces of writing I've done since Amy died was a book review for the Washington Post Book World. The novel was David Lodge's Deaf Sentence, about a retired linguistics professor, Desmond Bates, who is losing his hearing and who is also deaf to life, until, against his will, he visits Auschwitz, where the silence teaches him to hear. He reads a letter from a prisoner in the camp to his wife, discovered in a pile of human ashes. One sentence rises up to Desmond. If there have been at various times trifling misunderstandings in our life, now I see how one was unable to value the passing time. As far as I can tell, this is how to live, to value the passing time. It is March 2009. At 6 a.m., the sky looks smoky. I set the breakfast table and watch TV while I wait for the children. The weather people speak of the frost-burdened Midwest and of a record storm rolling up from the south. Bubby's patters from his room in his red pajamas with the feet built in. He comes most of the way down the stairs, opens his arms to me, and jumps. We look out the glass door. Going to snow, he says. Looks like it, Bubs. Would you like a banana this morning, I ask him. Toast, he says. Real toast. Real toast it is. He goes to the table and kneels on his chair. I bring him a sliced banana and toast, along with my own toast and coffee. We eat.